my name is Wally Vogel. I serve on the board of Kidney Cancer Canada as a director at large, and I also help out with some of the technical requirements when I can. It's just my great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Maureen Campbell. Maureen is a kidney cancer survivor, and she's going to share with us the story of her journey with kidney cancer as an early-stage patient.
Being diagnosed with kidney cancer was a shock. I'm sure everyone here felt exactly the same. October 16th, I was given the situation of going to the bathroom, finding blood in my urine, and off to the doctor the next day. And so I went through the whole process of going for ultrasound, straight over in for CAT scan, and from that got a call from the doctor to say there's good news and there's bad news. And the bad news was that they had discovered a mass in my kidney, and the good news was that it was encapsulated. Encapsulated meant that it was contained, and that's the one thing that I heard in all of that news being given to me. I took really the news incoming as if it was a total shock to me, and silence and clarity came. And so, as I said, I could hear that word very, very clearly, encapsulated. And it was a lifeline that I held on to, and it was a lifeline of hope. And that brought me through all of the research that I did, going into Google and finding out all the information. Scared the hell out of me. But my intention was to find a list of questions that I would be able to take to my visit to the oncologist that would allow me, when I left that office, to know everything that I needed and to give me the courage and the peace of mind to go through surgery and whatever else it was that I had to face. I devised a list of questions and went to the oncologist with my partner, with my sister, and we were well received. And in the meeting itself, a lot of our questions were answered, and those that weren't, they were very kind to take the question and be very find it very humorous that I had this list of questions and be able to answer the ones that weren't answered. I hadn't found kidney cancer at that time, Kidney Cancer Canada, until I went for my the results of my biopsy. And there I learned that I was T1B. I had a 6.5 centimeter tumor, and that I had an aggressive grade 3. And all of those numbers scared the hell out of me, except I was slapped in the back and told me I was good to go. But before I could go, a lady named Joan, I think, was brought into the room and told me about a clinical study. A good thing came out of that. She further scared the hell out of me by this clinical study. Because I was two things that were happening for me. One was that I wanted to contribute and give back. And the other thing that happened was I was really bringing in all of this information of what was this new world for me. And I didn't want to put in chemicals that I really maybe did not need to have in my body. And it was a great struggle for about 3 weeks. But it was something that made me stronger, I think, in coming to a decision that I was very much at peace with, to be able to say that I declined to be in the study. But the good thing that came out of that meeting was that Joan told me about Kidney Cancer Canada, and that was a great area of solace for me, because I could go onto a discussion group and find other people that were dealing with a similar journey as myself. I wasn't alone. And I just want to go back and share with you something. In my nervousness, I forgot that coming out of the surgery, when I came into my room and into the recovery room and into my room in the hospital, I was in this place, and I'm sure you can all relate to this, of awe that a person could train, give their life to open me up and take out something that was potentially a threat to my life, could kill me. I was in great appreciation and great gratitude for that, the medical team, the surgeon and everybody that was there, the wonderful nurses, everybody. I think it was the drugs, because I was like a groupie. I was just like so grateful. And they were all, and the doctor, the chap that did the surgery went off to Hawaii and called back and checked on his, off to California, went off and called back to check on his patients every day. I just thought this was great. But his resident that would come in, I would say to him, I am so grateful that you're dedicating your life to this. I feel so good. And he was like, yeah. And I said, you have to learn to receive. But anyway, as I said, it was a very profound feeling for me. And I went off, anyway, from all of that, and went off to heal. And I was supposed to be better in 6 weeks, and pick myself up and go back to work and feel wonderful. Again, I was in awe of my body and what my body could do, and how miraculously it handled its part of the job on healing. I got myself through that, and then I realized that there's more components to me than just the physical. There is the physical, and there's also the aspect of being a full human being. I'm also dealing with mental, emotional, and the spiritual aspects of really what has happened to me, because my world shifted, as every one of us does, when something just dramatically comes in and hits us like a 2x4 over the head. Looking at my own mortality, looking at all of the things that could be down the pike. I decided that I would, just like my research, I would take a look and see what I could do for myself. And so what I did was I realized that in where I lived, I was traveling in and out every day to Toronto, and I had not exercised, and I had gained some weight. So that was my first test. I took care of my end of the physical needs, and so I joined Weight Watchers. And my friend says you never lose weight, Maureen, you release it, otherwise you find it again when you lose it. So I released 55 pounds. So I'm standing here 55 pounds lighter than I was back then. So that was a good thing. Then I thought, okay, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is movement. So I investigated yoga. I do aquafit. We got a little doggy who demands that I walk him every day. So I do that. So just putting some movement into my life and activity into my life. Then I thought, okay, mental. I discovered a lady called Byron Katie, and I don't know if anyone knows of that name, but she has written a book called Who Would I Be Without That Thought? And so that really helped me investigate the mental aspect of how my life was put together. Being raised in Ireland, being raised as an Irish Catholic, being raised in a school system where you were taught by, and raised by the fear, if you don't get it, you'll be, I don't know what you'd be done, but you'd be hung, drawn, and quartered. I didn't like that school system, so that's the background that I came from, and it really is questioning all of the thoughts that really went into my makeup as I currently stood. And so I examined what I wanted to keep and changed those that I didn't, that didn't work for me. I then, in doing all of this journey, I wanted to approach it from a perspective nearly like Mother Teresa does. Mother Teresa said, I'm not comparing myself to Mother Teresa, but using her words, she said that she was never against war, she was for peace. So I wanted in my journey not to be against anything that was happening in my body, but to be for wellness, health, and everything that I could do for myself. So I wanted to be for something, and that was what my mission was in my investigations. After that, I came across, and it was spoken today by Dale, about the help that could be given in Wellsprings. And if anyone lives out in the East End, in Coburg, there's, in Oshawa, I should say, there's a centre called Hearth Place that offers a program called The Healing Journey that was designed by Dr. Alistair Cunningham out of Princess Margaret. And the healing journey starts off with the investigation of coping with cancer and everything that might have gone into that journey, the chemical soups, the thought process that I just talked about, that might have made up some of the scenarios that not gave me cancer, but certainly didn't help me in any way. And it brings you right through the whole journey of meditations and journaling and questioning. And so that was the part that really answered the other elements, the emotional and the spiritual journey that I felt that I was on. As I said, I came out of that with the tools of journaling, meditation, other things that I put into play. The main thing that I came out of it was life doesn't happen to me, it happens for me. So if I'm looking at it happening for me, then what is it that this life-altering experience brought to me? And I would say that what it brought me was full circle. It brought me back to that feeling in the hospital bed where I had all of life itself, all of the fact of being given this gift here, this time around. And so the question was, what was life asking of me and what was I asking of life? And that really is my continuing journey as I use the words from Mary Oliver's poem, and her poem is The Summer Day, and the last lines in her poem are, what do you want to do with this wild, wonderful life? And so I ask myself every day, what am I going to do with it? It's a gift. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen, for sharing your story and what a great perspective.